Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Joanna Butler, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Eleanor Brownlee. We warmly welcome representatives from the new entry officers course, Royal Australian Naval College, HMAS Creswell, the delegation from the Department of Defence governance groups. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Walcher Central School visiting from Walcher, New South Wales, and students on behalf of Jamestown Community School visiting from Jamestown, South Australia. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Students and those who are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones, buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private James Stanley Meehl. James Meehl was born on the 6th of September 1891 in the small town of Corrindap in Victoria. He was one of 16 children born to John Anton Meehl, a farmer, and his wife Susanna. James received his education at Corrindap State School and afterwards found work as a labourer. When the First World War broke out in 1914, he was living in the town of Trawalla in Victoria. James Meehl enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 14th of February 1916. He was assigned to the 2nd Reinforcements of the 57th Battalion with the rank of private and started a short period of training in Australia. In April that year, he embarked for active service, sailing from Melbourne on board the troop ship Euripides. Private Meehl disembarked in Egypt on the 8th of May 1916. There, he was transferred to the ranks of the 58th Battalion and continued training. He embarked for the Western Front on the 17th of June. From there, his unit was immediately sent north to the French and Belgian border to take up positions in the trenches near the town of Fromelles. Meehl was in the front lines with his unit on the 15th of July when the enemy began shelling their position. 4 men were killed in the barrage, while Meehl and 8 others were wounded. Meehl had been hit in the face, hands, and legs, and was evacuated to a casualty clearing station behind the lines for treatment. His condition was severe enough that he was transferred to England for surgery and recovery. Private Meehl remained in England for several months, during which time his condition gradually improved. Following a short period of leave, he was ordered to return to the front in the new year and rejoined his unit in France on the 4th of February 1917. Only a few weeks later, on the 28th of February, Meehl and his comrades were in the trenches preparing to head back into the front lines. One of his mates, Private Scammell, was cleaning his rifle near Meehl, but had failed to remove the ammunition from the magazine. When Scammell closed the breech, he touched the trigger, shooting Meehl through his right thigh. Scammell shouted, "I shot you," and stretcher bearers immediately rushed to assist Meehl. He was taken to a larger hospital further behind the lines, where he was also found to be suffering from a fractured femur alongside extensive tissue damage. Having been back at the front for only a number of weeks, Meehl was again evacuated to England. He was admitted to Harefield Hospital in April 1917, but his wound continued to worsen, leaving him in chronic pain and unable to walk. It was decided to return Meehl to Australia for discharge, as it was unlikely he would recover in time to return to the trenches. He boarded the hospital ship Canouna in August 1917 and arrived back in Melbourne on the 11th of September. Meehl was immediately admitted to Caulfield Military Hospital, where he underwent multiple operations on his leg to treat the infection and drain the fluid which had accumulated. Meehl remained in hospital over Christmas and into 1918, during which period doctors held out little hope that he would ever walk again or return to his former employment as a labourer. He was discharged from the AIF on the 2nd of March and remained in the ward for further surgeries. In the early hours of the morning the following day, the hospital staff heard a call from Meehl's ward when a man cried out, "Orderly, quick, there's a man pretty bad." Medical staff rushed to Meehl's bedside, where they found that he had taken his own life with a razor. 2 days later, Meehl was buried at Rokewood Cemetery in Melbourne. His eldest sister, Annie, paid tribute to Meehl with a short notice placed in the Argus newspaper. It read, "The end was sudden, the shock severe. We little thought his end so near. God took him home, it was his will. Forget him, no, we never will." Private James Stanley Meehl was 26 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private James Stanley Meehl, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, some that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for joining us at the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very